Please take care. Keep yourself muted. When you speak something, at that time you can unmute it. If you follow this practice, it'll be nice. Then I don't have to force mute you. What is the practice? Keep yourself muted. When you're speaking, unmute and then mute. Because some background sound you'll not be aware. Keep coming. Okay. So today is already 9:20, 9:15. Third batch today of the same chapter. So we will do 4 parts like we did yesterday. Number one, I'm going to take. I think on we did on Saturday the same style we will do. One part I will do first Prabhupada audio on the same topic, chapter 1. Then after that I will do. There are in Bhagavad Gita we have selected 108 shlokas which are good for memory. So every chapter, the most important shloka is picked out. So there is only one shloka in this chapter that we will take out. First shloka. Then I will read the shloka word over word, meaning, translation, explanation. After that is over, we will take questions. And then finally, I will read one story from Bhagavatam, which is on the same point of dilemma and surrender. Okay? Arjuna had a dilemma and he surrendered to Krishna. Okay, is it fine, everybody? 4 parts. Let us start. Please see to it the audio quality is okay. Any problem, let me know.
We are at the present moment in our material condition, we are manufacturing ideas and being baffled also, because it is the business of the mind to create something and again reject it. Mind will think circle, yes, let me do this. It will decide, oh, better not to do this. This is called sankalpa vikalpa, deciding and rejecting. And this is due to our unsteady condition in the material platform. But when we decide to act according to the Supreme Consciousness, at that stage there is no such duality that let me do it or let me not do it. No. There is only one thing, let me do it. Let me do it, because it is sanctioned by the superior consciousness. The whole Bhagavad Gita is based on these principles of life.
Bhagavad Gita is based on what principle? That I have mind is always flickering. Let me do this, what to not do this. So I'll just obey the will of the Supreme Lord. I'll obey that is the, because by superior conscience something is sanctioned. The Lord has sanctioned something. Therefore I'll do it. That is actually the way. Because I have been ordered by an Acharya. Prabhupada's whole life was order of his Guru. Because I have been ordered to do something, I'll do it. So that makes it proper consciousness. But according to supreme consciousness, act according to supreme consciousness. Then let me do the, let me not do that. Just like say you want to smoke. So no, Lord has told me not to smoke. So your mind is very fickle. Depending on mind will be a disaster. Like Arjuna is thinking, should I fight? Not want to fight. This is what you are doing. Why not listen to a higher authority and do what he says? Then your mind is taken care of. Okay? Let me do it. These things will not appear. I will do according to the supreme consciousness. Okay? Because it is sanctioned by the superior consciousness, let me just do it. This is civilization. Okay. So that is one. Now let us first part finish.
இது பக்கத்துல இருக்கு பாருங்க. மைக்ரோன் பக்கத்துல டம்ளர் முடிஞ்சது பாருங்க.
Okay, so Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Dhritarashtra Vacha. Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yuyusavaha. Mamaka Pandavascheva Kim Akurvat Sanjaya. It's a very beautiful statement. Dhritarashtra wrote Sanjay after assembling in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra, what did my sons do and the sons of Pandu do, being desirous to find? Okay. Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre. And the holy place, which is Dharmakshetra, also known as Kurukshetra. Okay. Samaveta, assemble. Dharmashetra is rather an adjective here for Kurukshetra. And Samaveta, they assemble. Yuyusava to fight. Who has assembled my sons and Pandava's son? What did they do? Dhritarashtra was Sanjay after assembling in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra. What did my sons of Pandu do, being desirous to fight? Dhritarashtra, King Dhritarashtra Vacha said, Dharmakshetra in the place of pilgrimage, Kurukshetra in the place named Kurukshetra. Samaveta, assemble, Yuyusava, desiring to fight. Mamaka, my party sons, Pandava, the sons of Pandu, Cha, and Eva, certainly. Kim, what Akurvat did they do? Sanjay, oh Sanjay. Okay. Anybody would like to read? We have this reading of the explanation of this, then we'll discuss this.
Prabhuji, can I read?
Already, Neha Gupta, you start reading. I have not muted anybody.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Bhagavad Gita is the widely read aesthetic science summarized in the Gita Mahatmya, glorification of the Gita. There it says that one should read Bhagavad Gita very scrutinizingly with the help of a person who is a devotee of Sri Krishna and try to understand it without personally motivated interpretation. The example of clear understanding is there in the Bhagavad Gita itself, in the way the teaching is understood by Arjuna, who heard the Gita directly from the Lord. If someone is fortunate enough to understand Bhagavad Gita in that line of disciplinic succession without motivated interpretations, then he surpasses all studies of Vedic wisdom and all scriptures of the world. One will find in the Bhagavad Gita all that is contained in other scriptures, but the reader will also find things which are not to be found elsewhere. That is the specific standard of the Gita. It is the perfect theistic science because it is directly spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. The topics discussed by Dhritarashtra and Sanjaya as described in the Mahabharata from the basic principle for this great philosophy. It is understood that this philosophy evolved on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, which is a sacred place of pilgrimage from the immemorial time of the Vedic age. It was spoken by the Lord when he was present personally on this planet for the guidance of mankind. The word Dharmkshetra.
Wait. Let us understand. Okay? So he's asking, what did my sons of Panduru desiring to fight? Okay. So theistic, Prabhupada is saying it's a science. So nice. Bhagavad Gita is not a book of faith. The word even Hindu doesn't exist in the book. This is a spiritual science, theistic science. And one should read Bhagavad Gita very scrutinizingly with the help of a devotee. Okay? Because that's where you will understand the actual meaning. Then, the example of clear understanding is there in Gita in the way the teaching is understood by Arjuna. There's clear understanding is there. How Arjuna understood? In the same footstep we should also understand. And how did Arjuna understand Gita directly from the Lord? See, what Arjuna understood, because he is the first student of Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, that understanding is lying in the Gita itself. In the 10th chapter, 8, 9, from 12th chapter, shloka itself, here and there, Arjuna starts speaking what he understood, what Krishna has taught. He sees in the 12th shloka, Param Brahma, Param Dhamam, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavam. Purusham Shashwatam Divyam Adideva Vacham Bhum Ahustvam Rishaya Sarve Deva Narada Satha. So like that, he speaks out what he understood. So your understanding of Bhagavad Gita should follow the Arjuna's understanding. You cannot be an upstart, write some nonsense book, my Gita, my Sita, and waste your time, others people's time. Why are you wasting? Joker. What Arjuna has understood, you follow in the footsteps. What great acharyas like Vedavyasa, Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya understood, we follow in their footsteps. Who are you? We don't care about you. We want, but people are not like that. They will not read what acharyas have written. They will read any knowledge. They have no discrimination. They will TV something come, they will watch. Oh, please watch. No. Avaishnava Mukho Geetam Bhuta Harikatha Amritam Shavadam Naiva Kartavyam Sarpochishta Payoratha. If somebody is speaking about God, who is a Avaishnava, Avaishnava means he has not taken shelter of Krishna and he wants to talk about that, want to do business of the words of God, don't hear. It will do a contrary work. First thing, it will confuse you. And then not only that, because in the heart of the fellow there is disrespect and jealousy for the Lord, it will destroy your spiritual life. Jealousy is very difficult to come out once you are in pain. Shavadam naiva kartavyam. It is why you should never hear such people. It is as good as drinking a glass of milk where poison has been put. Dangerous for you. You will die. Okay. So we should never take Bhagavad Gita with the personal motivated interpretation. Just like somebody said, Gita support non-violence. Gita, non-violence. Strange. I know which book he's talking about. So people have made the very, very strange presentation based on Bhagavad Gita. So it is not a book open for speculation. In the fourth chapter, it was very clear, parampara. This Gita, the original meaning is protected by parampara. If 2 plus 2, one person says 5, one person says 6, either one is wrong or both are wrong. So there are two explanations of Bhagavad Gita. One is wrong or both are wrong. It cannot be two. It has to be one. There is only one simple meaning Krishna is telling Arjuna. It's not that he's throwing some very vague story which you can interpret it anyway. No. And the correct interpretation is exemplified by Arjuna. The way he understood, why don't you follow that? Then you'll surpass all the studies of Vedic wisdom and all the scriptures of the world. Okay? It is the perfect thesis sign, but it's directly spoken by Supreme Personality God and Lord Shri Krishna. Okay, then this you have done. Okay, the sacred place of pilgrimage, this is Kurukshetra was always a holy place, even before Mahabharata. Kurukshetra dharma achare, it is a statement in the Vedas. You know religious practices, go to Kurukshetra. So it's not that that's the only place. There are many holy places, but Krishna chose Kurukshetra for the battle to occur. Okay, chalo. The word dharma kshetra. Yes, Mataji, continue. Neha.
The word Dharmkshetra, a place where religious rituals are performed, is significant because on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead was present on the side of Arjuna. Dhritarashtra, the father of the Kurus, was highly doubtful about the possibility of his son's ultimate victory. In his doubt, he inquired from his secretary Sanjaya, "What did my sons and the sons of Pandu do?" He was confident that both his sons and the sons of his younger brother Pandu were assembled in that field of Kurukshetra for a determined engagement of the war. Still, his inquiry is significant. He did not want a compromise between the cousins and brothers, and he wanted to be sure of the fate of his sons on the battlefield, because the battle was arranged to be fought at Kurukshetra, which is mentioned elsewhere in the Vedas as a place of worship, even for the denizens of heaven. Dhritarashtra became very fearful about the influence of the holy place on the outcome of the battle. He knew very well that this would influence Arjuna and the sons of Pandu favorably, because by nature they were all virtuous. Sanjaya was a student of Vyasa, and therefore, by the mercy of Vyasa, Sanjaya was able to envision the battlefield of Kurukshetra even while he was in the room of Dhritarashtra. And so Dhritarashtra asked him about the situation on the battlefield.
Okay,
Both the Pandavas.
So Dharma Kshetra, the place, holy place, is giving an anxiety to Dhritarashtra because he knows these Pandavas are dharmic, very holy. Even Dhritarashtra has no doubt. He knows they're very holy. But he is too much attached to his son. And that is why he is not stopping the war. Why did my sons, the sons of Pandu, do? Why is he asking? Because he's very worried. He's worried that if there is a compromise, then something will happen. My sons will come back home, giving the kingdom to the Pandavas. He doesn't want that. And he's thinking, let it do the war with Dronacharya, Bhishma on their side and 100 of them. They just fight. They'll win the war within minutes. Let them win and come back. He didn't want to compromise. Still, he was worried. Maybe the holy place, the effect on my son Duryodhana, and maybe he'll give them some kingdom, at least 5 villages that he asked. So, but none, it has no effect because holy place only affects holy people. So he became fearful of the influence of the holy. He knows the place will benefit them. He's also worried maybe my son makes some kind of compromise. Okay. Sanjay was the student of Vyasa, therefore, by the mercy of Vyasa, Sanjay able to win vision. So this is Divya Drishti. It's not, we can just, like your television, he has a live broadcast he is doing, some kind of siddhi. Just like I think about Delhi, I can think about my home in Delhi, but I cannot see what is happening. I don't have that much power. But you can awaken. These are all siddhi powers. Yes, next.
Prabhuji, one question here before I.
Yeah.
Murali here.
Just we finished one paragraph, only just one, just hold on, one paragraph.
Okay.
Both the Pandavas and the sons of Dhritarashtra belong to the same family, but Dhritarashtra's mind is disclosed herein. He deliberately claimed only his sons as Kurus, and he separated the sons of Pandu from the family heritage. One can thus understand the specific position of Dhritarashtra in his relationship with his nephews, the sons of Pandu, as in the paddy field the unnecessary plants are taken out. So it is expected from the very beginning of these topics that in the religious field of Kurukshetra, where the father of religion, Sri Krishna, was present, the unwanted plants like the Dhritarashtra's son, Duryodhana, and others would be wiped out, and the thoroughly religious persons headed by Yudhishthira would be established by the Lord. This is the significance of the words Dharmakshetra and Kurukshetra, apart from their historical and Vedic importance.
Okay, now the 2 points in the last. This is politics, Actually, Kuru was a great king in the history. So even sons of Pandus are, Pandu himself is also Kaurava, Dhritarashtra is also Kaurava. Both their sons are Kauravas. But this is politics. Dhritarashtra is saying his sons as Kauravas, and he's saying Pandu's sons as Pandavas. If Pandu's sons are Pandavas, and Dhritarashtra's sons are Dhartarashtra's. But he is consciously calling them only his sons as Kaurava, so that they look like inheritors of the property. And Pandu's sons, he is disinheriting them by the word, the way he's using it. Okay. And the second point is that this is allegorical meaning, but first the primary meaning has been taken. Is that Kurukshetra is like a field, Kuru dynasty. And who has come in the field? Sometimes there are weeds are there. In this great dynasty of the Kurukshetra, there are sometimes weeds. What are weeds? Duryodhana is a weed. Now, when the father of religion, Dharmakshetra, Kurukshetra, in this holy dynasty, when father of religion, Krishna, appeared, definitely a farmer will throw out the weeds. So the people like Duryodhana and others will be wiped out. A thoroughly religious person, Yudhishthira, will be established by the Lord. So this is probably another meaning of the word Dharmakshetra, Kurukshetra, apart from the historical Vedic importance. Yes, sir. Murali?
The question about I have is about dharma. Dharma here, Prabhuji. Is it not when you say religious, a narrow definition? Because dharma itself has a very broad and definition. Yeah.
No, I just use the word
something
holy.
I'm missing here.
Yeah. No. See, when we say dharma has many definitions, agreed. One of the definitions is the original intrinsic property of something which cannot be removed. The dharma of the soul is to serve, because that thing is, you cannot remove it from the soul, part of it. So if the soul voluntarily engages to serve the Lord, then becomes most blissful, in its nature.
Yes.
So that is the very advanced definition. Like that, we can have so many different dharma. But see, the word has been used, Dharmakshetra. signifying Kurukshetra as a holy place where spiritual activities are done. Dharmik. You see, you feel the word should not have been used, Dharma Kshetra. See, I
No, no,
always go reverse. I
no,
always
no,
go,
no. I see. I always. It's not saying that Dharma Kshetra should not be Dharma should not be used for Kurukshetra because ultimate justice is being served.
yeah.
That is very correct. Yeah, and that is also correct that it is a holy space. But the only point I had was when in the description we says that it is a place where holy rituals are performed. It's not just the holy rituals are performed, but it is itself a place of dharma, because
No,
that's where
see,
the justice has
why?
been
See,
done.
Acharya Prabhupada, when he says something, he's
That's
always, no, just listen, he's only translating. There is a verse in the Vedas which says, Kurukshetra Dharma Acharet. There is a verse in the Vedas. If you want to do any religious practices, go to Kurukshetra. He just keeps most of his purpose very interesting behind other Sanskrit verses, which are not, he doesn't write to make it too complicated, correct? He just keeps repeating. There is a verse,
No, that,
Kurukshetra Dharma Acharet. And if you want to do religious practices, go to Kurukshetra. Like that.
yeah.
You know, just like many people have you have to do some shraddha, you have to do some religious function. Or don't do that, we go to the holy place to do it, correct? So Kurukshetra was also a place chosen for that. So therefore, he just translated that.
Okay. Okay, that's clear. The other point is I think the second part. I agree with your analogy that everyone was Kauravas, including probably Parikshit Maharaj was also Kaurava, isn't it?
Yeah, Parikshit Maharaj is also a Kaurava. He's mentioned like that in Bhagavatam. Yeah.
Yeah. All the generations coming down to the Parikshit Maharaj, almost up to the.
Yeah.
I think the
No. Kuru is a great king in the history. Kuru. I think
Yes.
Kuru, there was one king, I think Yayati, there is sons who we have to go back many generations before. We have to go to their, genealogical chart. There is a chart. I don't know whether I can get to the chart, but there we can locate. Where is this? Kuru is far away, far away. Yes. In the 9th canto of Bhagavatam, there all the charts are made of all the dynasties. Maybe I'll get to the chart one day. Take it. This is fine, no? All are Kauravas, and actually he's saying that only my sons are Kauravas. He's technically wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much.
What I want to do is that after taking up some questions there, in a Bhagavatam, there is a narration of what he told Parikshit Maharaj, also in a similar situation. Just like Arjuna went into bewilderment, actually surprising. He is the eternal servant of the Lord. He should not be bewildered. But that was done so that Gita can be spoken by the Lord. He became actually a dummy target. In the same way, Parikshit Maharaj got into bewilderment and Bhagavatam came out. And for 7 days, he heard Bhagavatam. So we want to take a similar instance where the person, we all get into difficulty, like Arjuna got into difficulty, we don't surrender. So we will take the instance that will be very inspiration, how he, in a great difficulty, he also totally surrendered and he took shelter. Here he took shelter of Krishna, he took shelter of Shukamuni, who guided him very nicely. Okay. Any Pramodji, Hare Krishna, you wanted to add something?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I can't add anything after you speak. I have got 2 queries and I wish you could please answer them. Of course, they are very 2 simple things. When the Yudhishthir and his brothers lost everything in the Dyut Krida, and still they came to fight.
Who?
They came to fight. They wanted their the share in the kingdom. Number 2, if you say that they had lost...
I didn't understand. Yudhishthira lost everything in the Dyut, I know. Then what did you connect after that?
And then they came to fight the Mahabharat war. Was it right?
No, that is a big thing happened, no? They lost their share of kingdom, they went to Vanvas and they came back after 13 years, correct?
Correct.
And then the promise was there, when you come back, they will be given back their portion of the kingdom. And Duryodhana said no. Duryodhana said no. Agyatva's time, Arjuna came out at Virata a few seconds before. So you go again for 12 years.
Yes, Prabhuji, this was the missing link. Yes, Hare Krishna, Dandvat Pranam. And the second question, which we keep again and again repeating in the morning sessions, that today people are very greedy about things. nobody wants to give even for a few land, and brothers are fighting. in
Okay,
the-
we were talking about, yeah, that was in the
Yeah.
brother
So
sisters.
probably the same thing happened here. They were also fighting for their right, and it was known as dharm yudh. If you call it,
No, but it was not. It was not little give and take. They agreed for give and take. No, they say you see. Actually, kingdom did not belong to Dhritarashtra or his son at all. According to the laws, kingdom came to Pandu, whole kingdom, and whole kingdom go to Yudhishthira. Already 50-50. Forget 50-50. They said 5 villages. Keep that.
not
They agreed. They have compromised already enough.
but Prabhuji,
But they
that
need livelihood. No, see, there has to be everything has to have a limit. No, they cannot live on begging. Kshatriyas are not supposed to live on only begging. Is see, they are all very pure, but they are on the role of a Kshatriyas. Kshatriyas cannot beg.
cannot.
Kshatriyas have to supposed to earn their livelihood. How they going to earn their livelihood is not giving a place even to some village to do administration. He is Kshatriya, and people give him tax. So he's not. He is denying them even a basic livelihood. Then
Yes,
Krishna said, now we have to draw the red line. Now it's enough. Now we will take it with a force. Correct? We enough with it.
and yet it is landing up in the courts instead of force.
No,
Not-
but see, I'm just saying, many a time I've studied some of the cases because see, I'm now elderly,
yes.
50 plus. So
I know,
congregation
I know.
people do come to me with these things. And
Yes.
many times I resolved it out by telling, he's your younger brother. आपका भाई है, थोड़ा दे दो. No, fight is not for the whole thing. Fight is always for 1%, 5%. It's only, and see, two countries, two neighbors, exactly we cannot settle it. There is always, if you go for the actual map, which will be the ADLR all map, which is there, and actually on the ground, the map, even your property that you have, will not, the points don't exactly fit. It's always 1 meter, half meter here and there. So that if the two neighbors want to fight, they can fight.
Always,
but at the
yes,
same
yes.
time, if you want to sit with friendly and all, and you say give and take, you do settle, you can always come to an amicable settlement many a time. Particularly with your brother and sister, with the same blood. At least the elder one I request, always request elder one. Yes, chota bhai hai. What is there? God will give you so much. And then you save so much energy. Otherwise, situation I saw, cursing each other. That is so.
Yes.
साफ दे रहे भाई बहन एक दूसरे को.
Yes, I agree, Prabhu. I also wanted to share one more thing, very thing. I've been to your alma mater, IIT Kanpur, and had a very, very long discussion with, he had just come, Professor Mukherjee. He was a computer person who was into algorithms. And there was someone called Mr. Sharma who was teaching the MCA batch, and he had everything recorded for the film. And he wanted that I be in Bombay to get everything, whatever song, whichever year, everything very nice. So I thought that, yes, I had a query about this property problem because of that only. So do you think computers can help solving this kind of problems, this border issues and all, through algorithms or artificial intelligence, so that cases in the
What is
court can be
artificial intelligence? Is just a smoke screen. Just a smoke screen.
But something
Just
from
they say artificial. Yeah, try to understand.
crores and crores of
Try.
pixels
No.
will just be vanished.
It's just a new word or a smoke screen. See, how can you, what do you say? You decide, I will scratch my face now here. Hannah?
Yes.
Now, how can you predict that? So artificial intelligence is just a machines
watch.
trying to imitate human behavior. Okay? How can they do it? It's limited.
Emotionless.
Because the consciousness is missing in that. It can add some numbers for you, maybe. That's all what it can do. See, the free will, that's the biggest problem. The free will cannot be imitated in a machine. What you'll do? Random number will generate. That's what they do.
That's what, yes.
It's much more free will, experience. These things cannot be brought into a machine. And they are making big drama. They are saying one day computers will come, and if they're kind, they will keep us as servants. And this was heard by me when I was studying 93. They said for 2000, then it is going 2010, 2020. It can never happen. Machines are just dead. Interesting thing we're going to read in Bhagavatam later. Indra has it in its place, robots like this. It is mentioned in the Bhagavatam.
Okay.
They are not living. They are machines. They serve the people. They Jews, Somarasa, they serve.
Yes. Yes.
So these things, don't think only you do. Devatas has also done it. They
Okay.
have it. They have machines which are not living, and they can
Yes.
do all the work except they don't have life.
Okay. Yes, Prabhu, and they don't have Chetna or soul. And I
Yeah,
will
they're
not
not
keep you
conscious.
long because it's already getting 9:45, and I know
No,
you
no,
get.
Abhi, I have to narrate a pastime for you.
Yes, yes,
Parishman.
Prabhuji. Okay, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I just close now. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, Pramodji. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. भानु दास जी, हरे कृष्णा.
हरे कृष्णा.
हाँ, क्या कुछ बोलना चाहते हैं, कुछ ऐड करना चाहते हैं, इसके लिए चले.
My query is, sir, Kurukshetra, battle of Kurukshetra is called Dharma Kshetra. So, what is the definition of dharma applicable to that battle?
नो उधर तीर्थ काम होते थे पहले भी, उसमें पुण्य भूमि है वो. जैसे आपका वृंदावन पुण्य भूमि है ना, वहाँ आप कृष्ण जी आए थे, है ना, उसको धर्म क्षेत्र बोलते हैं. कभी भी अयोध्या गए, उसको धर्म क्षेत्र बोलते हैं, भगवान का धाम है. सिमिलरली कुरुक्षेत्र भी एक धार्मिक स्थान है. दैट इज द पॉइंट. दैट्स ऑल.
That's all.
अभी देखिए, धर्म युद्ध भी हुआ, नियम के अनुसार हुआ. शाम को 5 बजे बाद अस्त्र नहीं उठेगा, सुबह सुबह सूर्य उदय के बाद अस्त्र उठेगा, है ना, और रात को बैठ के वो गपशप करेंगे, साथ में खाना भी खाएंगे, अगले दिन युद्ध करेंगे. ये हम तो ऐसा सोच भी नहीं सकते अभी. करेक्ट, सोच भी नहीं सकते. आजकल युद्ध मतलब गुंडाइज्म, हुलिगनिज्म. बड़े बड़े राजा लोग क्या करते हैं, सिटी में जाके बच्चों के ऊपर बम फेंक देते. अरे रे रे रे, बहुत बहुत, आप तो बहुत ही धार्मिक है ना, है नहीं ऐसा?
Yeah. That's
अमेरिका
all.
ने क्या किया, जब जापान ने उनका पर्ल हार्बर डैमेज किया, तो उनका आर्मी को अटैक करो ना, जाके सिटी के बीच में बम फेंक दे दो, वो घुटने टेक देंगे. आप तो इनोसेंट लोगों को क्यों मार रहे हो? ये युद्ध में कोई बुढ़ा था, कोई बच्चा था, कोई स्त्री था, कोई ब्राह्मण था, कोई वैश्य था, कोई नहीं था. बस खाली क्षत्रिय लोग आए थे, है ना. सेटल कर लेते हैं भाई, बहुत बात हो गई, सेटल नहीं हो रहा, और लड़ मार के सेटल कर लेते हैं. और एक और चीज आजकल क्या है, कोल्ड वॉर चलता रहता है. ये क्या मजाक, कोल्ड वॉर खत्म करो ना. इधर 2 मरेंगे, उधर 5 मरेंगे, चप्पे छुट्टी. ज्यादा मरते कोल्ड वॉर में, ज्यादा उसमें घुटन में मर जाता आदमी, उसका द्वेष ले लेके मर जाता है ना.
That's all. Yes.
जैसे अमेरिका रशिया की वजह से द्वेष है, इंडिया पाकिस्तान द्वेष. अरे यार, तुम्हें प्रॉब्लम है, जब बात करो, बात नहीं होती तो चलो शुरू करो. इधर 5 मरेंगे, 10 मरेंगे, हो गया छुट्टी, आगे तो चलो ना उसके आगे. ये तो कोल्ड वॉर बड़ा मतलब स्ट्रेंज आज कलयुग का है. अनदर थिंग, मैं एनालिसिस बता रहा हूँ अपना, दिस इज इंटरेस्टिंग. ऑलवेज देयर शुड बी वन एम्परर इन द वर्ल्ड.
Yeah. That's correct.
बता रहा हूँ क्यों, ये कोल्ड वॉर बंद हो जाती है, उससे शांति रह जाती है. इधर 10 मरेंगे, उधर एक होना चाहिए. ये राजसूय यज्ञ इसीलिए होता था, एक घोड़ा जाता था पूरे विश्व में, किसी एक जो हु सिंग्स, ही वन पर्सन हैज टू बी द बॉस, ठीक है, others have to be subordinate to him. So he will send his horse all around the world, all the kingdoms it will go. Anybody says no, I don't accept that he is my boss, he has to say, he will hold the horse. No, I don't accept you are my boss. Then there will be war. Settle it, because there has to be one person the boss in a house. एक आदमी होना चाहिए, तो उधर भी कोल्ड वॉर शुरू हो जाता है. घर में भी नहीं, देयर हैज टू बी वन लीडर. किसको भी बना दो, एक को बना दो, बीवी को, फाइनल डिसीजन एक. नहीं तो क्या होता है, कोल्ड वॉर शुरू. कोल्ड वॉर ना, पॉलिटिक्स शुरू, और पॉलिटिक्स में बिल्कुल बहुत घुटन हो जाती है. ऑफिस में काम करते हैं, पॉलिटिक्स मतलब दे ट्राई, अरे नहीं, शुरू करो, मतलब कुश्ती शुरू करो, जो जीतेगा, खत्म करो. सो I'm just giving an idea. Idea is that there has to be one clear ruler. Now, Parikshit Maharaj was the one clear ruler for the whole earth. All the kings were subordinate to him. They used to pay tax to him. Yudhishthira Maharaj also, after the war, became the one clear ruler for the earth. Not for a small tract of India, which call India, no. And all the kings used to pay. They can be kings, no problem. They have all freedom, but they are subordinate to the emperor, and is keeping a watch. If they do adharma, he can take strict action. Okay? Otherwise, not bother. Give some tax, agree. So there is some control of one good person. That used to be training us. They were so virtuous and always counseled by great sages. These kings were really amazing. Therefore, they were called Raja Rishis. So we can say, feel patriotic sometime. India is great. India is great because it produced great brahmanas. And like Vedavyasa, Madhvacharya, Shankaracharya, we produce such great people. Also, we produce great kings like Yudhishthira Maharaj. All where you their character, their behavior. I'll just read you little, you'll be shocked. Yudhishthira Maharaj, when he ruled, he created Vaikuntha on earth. Just give me a few. It's amazing to even think about this. Oh my God, did he do that? Yes, he did that. Okay, now let me take from here. Where the base? Amazing how we could do that. So, the war had such a big price, but if such a big price hasn't paid, there should be such a big benefit also. Departure, I think it will come in this. Yeah. Yes, somebody would like to read, any person? Text 3.
Yes, shall I continue?
Yeah.
Text 3. Maharaja Yudhishthira, after being enlightened by what was spoken by Bhishma Deva, this
And Lord Shri Krishna.
It's not clear. Bhishma Deva and Lord Sri Krishna, the infallible, engaged himself in matters of perfect knowledge because of his misgiving were eradicated. Thus he ruled over the earth and seas and was followed by his younger brothers. Text 4. During the reign of Maharaja Yudhishthira, the clouds showered over all the water that people needed, and the earth produced all the necessities of man in profusion. Due to its fatty milk bag and cheerful attitude, the cow used to moisten the grazing ground with milk. Text 5. The rivers, oceans, hills, mountains, forests, creepers, and active drugs in every season paid their tax quota to his king's profusion. 6. Because of the kings having no money, the living beings.
No enemy, no money, no enemy.
No enemy, the living beings were not at any time disturbed by mental agonies, diseases, or excessive heat or cold.
Okay, that much is enough. So you see that there was a kind of Vaikuntha on earth. People had no anxiety. See, no anxiety, no diseases also. Because, see, nature also becomes very harmonious when you see the creation has a purpose. So when you live according to the purpose of creation, the nature becomes very harmonious. Okay, that is done. Now let me talk about something else. Let us go to something very interesting. Then there's start with chapter 18. This is something like will take us 20 minutes reading. Anybody else who likes to read a little fast and clear?
Prabhuji,
I don't mind reading.
Who wants to read?
Kirti Mataji.
I will read.
Yes, Kirti Mataji, we'll give you a chance. Okay, then after few shlokas, we don't worry. Next we'll give chance. Okay.
Prabhuji, one quick question. Where can I
Yeah.
find the link, Prabhuji, so that I can read it on a bigger screen?
Oh, this one, no? I'll just share.
Which
this.
canton is it?
No, not just I'll share the whole thing. See, also there is a lot of purports and explanation given, so you can read it aram se. I'll just share. But I'm just reading the translations. Just to give an inspiration, like, see, one great quality of Arjuna is that he did have a problem. Agreed, we all have problems, but he approached an authority. We live with problem. That's our problem. But Parikshit Maharaj also had a problem, getting cursed for 7 days, death within 7 days. But again, he approached an authority and took shelter. It's a mark of a great person to take shelter of authority when you're in problem. When you're legal problem, you go to lawyer. When you are in medical problem, you go to a doctor. But when you have a life problem, we should approach a guru, acharya. That shows a sign of maturity. So let us just see now the situation, what's happening, unraveling for Parikshit Maharaj. Okay. Just wait, I'll look at, 24, 25 start.
Okay. Once upon a time, Maharaj Parikshit, while engaged in hunting in the forest with bow and arrows, became extremely fatigued, hungry and thirsty while following the stags. While searching for a reservoir of water, he entered the hermitage of the well-known Samika Rishi and saw the sage sitting silently with closed eyes. Text 26. The Munis sense organs, breath, mind, and intelligence were all restrained from material activities, and he was situated in a trance apart from the three: wakefulness, dream, and unconsciousness, having achieved a transcendental position qualitatively equal with the Supreme Absolute. Text 27. The sage in meditation was covered by the skin of a stag, and long compressed hair was scattered all over him. The king whose palate, shall I stop?
No, continue.
The king whose palate was dry from thirst asked him for water. Text 28. The king, not received by any formal welcome by means of being offered a seat, place, water, and sweet addresses, considered himself neglected, and so thinking, he became angry. Text 29. O Brahmanas, the circumstances having distressed him with extreme hunger and thirst, the king directed toward the sage his anger and envy, which he had never been directed towards a Brahmana. Text 30. While leaving, the king, being so insulted, picked up a lifeless snake with his bow and angrily placed it on the shoulder of the sage. Then he returned to his palace. Text 31. Upon returning, he began to contemplate and argue within himself whether the sage had actually been in meditation with senses concentrated and eyes closed, or whether he had just been feigning trance just to avoid receiving a lower Kshatriya. Text 32. The sage had a son who was very powerful, being a Brahmana's son. While he was playing with inexperienced boys, he heard of his father's distress, which was occasioned by the king. Then and there, the boy spoke as follows. Text 33. The Brahmana's son, Shringi, said, "Oh, just look at the sins of the rulers who, like crows and watchdogs at the door, perpetrate sins against their masters, contrary to the principles governing servants." Shall I continue?
Yes.
You need to.
Yeah, continue.
You need to move it up. Thank you. Text 34. The descendants of the kingly orders are definitely designated as watchdogs, and they must keep themselves at the door. On what grounds can dogs enter the house and claim to dine with the master on the same plate? Text 35. After the departure of Lord Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead and supreme ruler of everyone, these upstarts have flourished, our protector being gone. Therefore, I myself shall take up this matter and punish them. Just witness my power. Text 36. The son of the Rishi, his eyes red hot with anger, touched the water of river Kaushika while speaking to his playmates and discharged the following thunderbolt of words. Text 37. The Brahmana's son cursed the king thus: "On the seventh day from today, a snake bird will bite the most wretched one of that dynasty, Maharaj Parikshit, because of his having broken the laws of etiquette by insulting my father."
Okay, now let us just understand what has happened. Parikshit Maharaj is a great personality, not ordinary, and he has gone to the forest for hunting. Hunting was part of Kshatriya's life because Kshatriyas have to kill sometimes. So they have to see blood. And generally they will reduce some unnecessary, burden on the forest. So the people, because in the forest also people are living. So the sages need a peaceful life. So if there are generally some dangerous animal, they will use to reduce. That's a separate topic. So now when he was very thirsty, and he came to the hermitage of the sage, a very famous sage at that time, Samika Rishi. His ashram was there. He came to his ashram and he asked for water. Something unusual happened to him. He became angry, which is very unusual for Parikshit Maharaj to be, getting angry at a great sage, not recognizing what's happening. This was the error of judgment. And there are various reasons for it, but the main thing was the Lord Krishna wanted Bhagavata to come out. Just like Arjuna situation deserves an explanation. How can a personality who's always with Krishna, birth after birth, as an eternal servant, hesitate to fight when the Lord brought him? That is because Krishna arrangement, so Gita can come out. Similarly, Parikshit Maharaj also had a small error of judgment, and he took out a dead snake, not a living one, put it on the neck of the sage in frustration, showing that this is how you receive me, and this is how I receive you. Correct? And he put the dead snake on his neck. You know, you put a garland, is putting a dead snake to someone's neck is a kind of insult. So you insult me. I know you are aware I'm entering a place. You're just feigning, you know. I think buses, what happens sometimes, we are traveling in India. And sometimes, you know, a lady comes with a child in the hand. And, you know, everybody expects you to get up. And I've seen some people, they close their eyes because they don't want to get up. They don't want to sit, continue sitting. So similarly, they thought this person is feigning ignorance that I've entered the place. He was not feigning ignorance. Actually, he was in spiritual consciousness, Krishna consciousness, and he is practicing meditation of the Lord, not empty meditation of today. He's a spiritual consciousness. And Parikshit Maharaj is also similarly highly advanced devotee, but some error of judgment has come now, and he puts a dead snake and walks away. While on the way itself, he's thinking, maybe I committed a mistake. You know, a great people means they think 10 times what I've done. And after landing in the city, as we will read, he actually concludes he had done a great mistake, and he prays to the Lord for a big punishment so that he doesn't do such a mistake again in his life. That being part. Now, the son of Samika Rishi, Shringi, comes to know of this because somebody saw this happening. And he runs to the boy and says, hey, you know what happened? What? You know that king is there on Parikshit Maharaj? Huh? He went to your house, okay? And he put a dead snake on your father's neck. Oh my God, he insulted a father like that. So I'll show you. And he was very proud. We can see all disqualification, but one qualification, there is a tapas he is doing. See, if you do tapas, you have a power to bless or curse somebody. He had some blessing power or cursing. He cursed the king to death within 7 days by a big flying snake. And that's what happened. Actually, the snake is going to come to him. Okay, let us deal now how Parikshit Maharaj deals with it. You know, we had a situation, Kamsa came to know his death will come from the 8th son. What did he do? He first tried to kill the sister itself. And later on request of Vasudeva that don't kill the sister. The problem with the child, he killed 6 children of his sister in front of the sister itself. But Parikshit Maharaj has also got a death penalty. It's quite extraordinary because offense is not so big. Not, you know, I don't think any government will give death penalty for this because he didn't put a live snake, put a dead snake. He'll get something, but not death penalty. Disproportionate with offense, the death penalty is pronounced. But still, he took it as the will of the Lord because I cannot raise my weapon against the sage. He accepted it. Okay, so now let us continue with our narration. Okay. Somebody else wants to read, or Mataji, you want to continue? Continue, Mataji.
I can continue.
Yeah.
Okay.
You continue, it's okay.
Mataji, you continue. You are reading very nicely.
Okay. All right, thank you. Text 38. Thereafter, when the boy returned to the hermitage, he saw a snake on his father's shoulder, and out of his grief, he cried very loudly. Text 39. O Brahmanas, the rishi who was born in the family of Angira Muni, hearing his son crying, gradually opened his eyes and saw the dead snake around his neck. Text 40. He threw the dead snake aside and asked his son why he was crying, whether anyone had done him harm. On hearing this, the son explained to him what had happened. Text 41. The father heard from his son that the king had been cursed, although he should never have been condemned, for he was the best amongst all human beings. The rishi did not congratulate his son, but on the contrary, began to repent, saying, Alas, what a great sinful act was performed by my son. He has awarded heavy punishment for an insignificant offense. Text 42. Oh, my boy, your intelligence is immature, and therefore you have no knowledge that the king, who is the best amongst human beings, is as good as the personality of Godhead. He is never to be placed on an equal footing with common men. The citizens of the state live in prosperity, being protected by his unsurpassable prowess. Text 43. My dear boy, the Lord who carries the wheel of a chariot is represented by the monarchical regime.
Yeah.
And when this regime is abolished, the whole world becomes filled with thieves, who then at once vanquish the unprotected subjects like scattered lambs. Text 44. Due to the termination of the monarchical regimes and
Termination.
regimes and the plundering
Plundering.
of the people's wealth by rogues
Well,
and thieves, there will be great social disruptions. People will be killed and injured, and animals and women will be stolen. And for all these sins, we shall be responsible. Text 45. At that time, the people in general will fall systematically from the path of progressive civilization in respect to the qualitative engagements of the castes and the orders of society and the Vedic injunctions. Thus, they will be more attracted to economic development for sense gratification. And as a result, there will be an unwanted population on the level of dogs and monkeys.
he's talking about, I think, today. Chalo, next.
Text 46. The Emperor Parikshit is a pious king. He is highly celebrated and is a first-class devotee of the personality of Godhead. He is a saint amongst royalty, and he has performed many horse sacrifices. When such a king is tired and fatigued, being stricken with hunger and thirst, he does not at all deserve to be cursed. Text 47. Then the Rishi prayed to the all-pervading personality of Godhead to pardon his immature boy who had no intelligence and who committed the great sin of cursing a person who was completely free from all sins, who was subordinate and who deserved to be protected. Text 48. The devotees of the Lord are so forbearing that even though they are defamed, cheated, cursed, disturbed, neglected, or even killed, they are never inclined to avenge themselves. Text 49. The sage thus regretted the sin committed by his own son. He did not take the insult paid by the king very seriously. Text 50. Generally, the transcendentalists, even though engaged by others in the dualities of the material world, are not distressed, nor do they take pleasure in worldly things, for they are transcendently engaged.
So
Hare Krishna.
both the father of Shringi, Shamika Rishi, shows great character. And Parikshit Maharaj also will show great. See, such beautiful people, such beautiful people. He's analyzing the situation and he's saying we need good kings. If there are no strong kings, what is going to happen? The people will come and loot everything away, isn't it? We need good kings. They have a role to play in society. Such a great king to be should not be cursed to death for no purpose. For small offense like this, I say, I don't take that offense so seriously. Why you have to give a death penalty for this? Okay, everything till now is fine. Let us see how Parikshit Maharaj takes this. It's a great lesson for us. And also, most important, he will take shelter of the sages, which is a lesson for us in difficulty to take shelter of Guru Krishna and the Guru Sadhu Shastra. We should take shelter. Everybody finds difficulty. But at the time, what we should do? Yes, who wants to read? Now we have 30, 40, another 15 minutes of reading.
Prabhuji, shall I continue?
Yeah, you read. Avoid reading the text number. We will save some time.
Okay. Sri Sutra Goswami said, while returning home, the king Maharaja Parikshit felt that the act he had committed against the faultless and powerful Brahmana was heinous and uncivilized. Consequently, he was distressed. King Parikshit thought, due to my neglecting the injunctions of the Supreme Lord, I must certainly expect some difficulty to overcome me in the near future. I now desire without reservation that the calamity come now, for in this way I may be freed of the sinful action and not commit such an offense again. I am uncivilized and sinful due to my neglect of Brahmanical culture, God consciousness, and cow protection. Therefore, I wish that my kingdom, strength, and riches burns up immediately by the fire of Brahmana's wrath, so that in the future I may not be guided by such inauspicious attitudes. While the king was thus repenting, he received news.
Imminent death.
Prabhuji, it's not okay. Yeah. He
Of his
received news of his imminent death, which would due to the bite of snake bird, occasioned by the curse spoken by the sage's son. The king accepted this as good news, for it would be the cause of the indifference to worldly things. Maharaj Parikshit sat down firmly on the bank of Gangas to concentrate his mind in the Krishna consciousness, rejecting all other practices of self-realization, because transcendental loving service to Krishna is the greatest achievement, so superseding all other methods.
Superseding. Now, one thing to note, he did not become angry at all. He didn't feel sad at all. Because already he was saying, just like say you are a teacher and a student comes to the class, he comes late. And he says, my dear teacher, I'm sorry, I'm late. Okay, fine. But somebody comes to the, my dear teacher, I'm late. Please punish me so severely that I come on time from tomorrow. As a special student. Same way, if you see Parikshit Maharaj is already, before he received the death penalty news, is already praying. I wish, correct, is saying, I may first think I've done something wrong. I feel some difficulty will come now. He's saying, okay, not only that, I desire without any reservation that the calamity come now. In this way, I will free from the sinful action and I'll not commit such an offense again. Even though he's such a great king, he's not proud of himself. He said, I was stupid mind, I did this stupid activity. Let a punishment is so severe that I do not do such kind of thing again. Look up, how upright he must be, how faultless he must be, that a small offense is being noticed by him. Today, in our behavior, in a day, we insult 100 people. So how much he will do like this? But his life is so clean. A small mistake is being, noticed, and he's requesting to be purified. Okay. So I am uncivilized, I am sinful. See, we should always fight for ourselves and look at good qualities in others. That's a good formula. Always find fault in others and look for good qualities in others. Always be very, very strict with your own mind and be very, very liberal with others. We are reverse. Very liberal. I told you, our mind is like Duryodhana and we are like Dhritarashtra. We never tell our mind anything. We can't tell anything to our mind. Just like Dhritarashtra was always silent. Even when the Duryodhana gave poison to Pandavas, he was very silent. We are also exactly like the Dhritarashtra, our mind. Just sitting silent helplessly, and the mind has become like Duryodhana, totally spoiled. Okay, so what we should do? So we should be strict with our mind. What Vidura was always advising, be strict with the sun, and we can't be. I wish the kingdom strength born up immediately. Let be a severe reaction. This mind must be beaten up so that I become upright. Okay. Chalo. Continue, Mother.
The river by which the king sat to fast carries the most auspicious water, which is mixed with the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord and tulsi leaves. Therefore, the water sanctifies the three worlds inside and outside, and even sanctifies Lord Shiva and other demigods. Consequently, everyone who is destined to die must take shelter of this river. Thus, the king, the worldly descendant of the Pandavas, decided once and for all and sat on the Ganga's bank to fast until death and give himself up to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, who alone is able to award liberation. So, freeing himself from all kinds of associations and attachments, he accepted the vows of a sage. At that time, all the great minds and thinkers, accompanied by their disciples and sages who could verily sanctify a place of pilgrimage just by their presence, arrived there on the plea of making a pilgrimage journey. From different parts of the universe, there arrived great sages like Atri, Shravana, Sharadvan, Aristanemi, Bhrigu, Vashisht, Parasara, Vishwamitra, Parashra, Vishwamitra, Angira, Parashurama, Uthatya, Indra Pramada, Idm. Prabhuji, what is that?
Yeah, you can read Idmavahu.
Idmavahu, Medhatithi, Devalaya, Arastisena, Bharadwaja, Gautama, Pipalada, Maitreya, Orva, Kavasa, Kumbhayoni, Dwapayana, and the great personality Narada. There were also many other saintly demigods, kings, and special royal orders called Arunadayas, a special rank of Rajarshis from different dynasties of sages. When they all assembled together to meet the emperor Parikshit, he received them properly and bowed his head to the ground. After all the rishis and others had seated themselves comfortably, the king, humbly standing before them with folded hands, and told them of his decision to fast until death. The fortunate king said, "Indeed, we are the most grateful of all the kings who are trained to get favors from the great souls. Generally, you, sages, consider royalty as refused to be rejected and left in a distant place. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the controller of both the transcendental and mundane worlds, has graciously overtaken me in the form of Brahmana's curse. Due to my being too much attached to family life, the Lord, in order to save me, has appeared before me in such a way that only out of fear I will detach myself from the world. O Brahmanas, just accept me as a completely surrendered soul, and let Mother Gangas, the representative of Lord, also accept me in that way, for I have already taken the lotus feet of the Lord into my heart. Let the snake bird or whatever material thing the Brahmana created bite me at once. I only desire that you all committing
Continue.
sin
You all continue singing.
continuing singing the deeds of Lord Vishnu. Again, offering obeisance unto all you Brahmanas, I pray that if I should again take my birth in the material world, I will have complete attachment to the unlimited Lord Krishna, association with his devotees, and friendly relations with all living beings. In perfect self-control, Maharaj Parikshit sat down on a seat of straw with straw roots facing the east, placed on the southern bank of Ganga, and he himself faced the north. Just previously, he had given charge of his kingdom over to his son. Thus, the king Maharaj Parikshit sat to the fast until death. All the demigods of the higher planets praised the king's actions and in pleasure continually scattered flowers over the earth and beat celestial drums. All the great sages who were assembled there also praised the decision of Maharaj Parikshit, and they expressed their approval by saying, "Very good." Naturally, the sages are inclined to do good to common man, for they have all the qualitative power of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, they were very much pleased to the Maharaj Parikshit, a devotee of the Lord, and they spoke as follows.
Okay. As follows. So this is good. Natural sages are inclined to do good to for they had all the quality powers. Pleased to see Bharat. Okay.
The sages said, "O chief of all the saintly kings of the Pandu dynasty who are strictly in the line of Lord Sri Krishna, it is not all astonishing that you gave up your throne, which is decorated with the helmets of many kings, to achieve eternal association with the personality of Godhead. We shall all wait here until the foremost devotee of Lord Maharaj Parikshit returns to the supreme planet, which is completely free from all mundane contamination and all kinds of lamentation." All that was spoken by the great sages was very sweet to hear, full of meaning and appropriately presented as perfectly true. So after hearing them, Maharaj Parikshit, desiring to hear of the activities of Lord Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, congratulated the great sages. The king said, "O great sages, you have all very kindly assembled here, having come from all parts of the universe. You are all as good as supreme knowledge personified, who resides in the planet above the three worlds, Satyaloka. Consequently, you are naturally inclined to do good to others, but For this you have no interest, either in this life or in the next. O trustworthy Brahmanas, I now ask you about my immediate duty. Please, after proper deliberation, tell me of the unalloyed duty of everyone in all circumstances, and specifically of those who are just about to die.
Yes,
At that moment,
just let us analyze. So look at what he did. He got a curse to die within 7 days, which was unjust. He remained within his dharma. He did not, he could have killed that boy, at least taken a revenge. He could have counter cursed. He could even repelled the curse. But he decided that it's not beyond his etiquettes to do that, because he was not going to attack the Brahmins. Okay, done. So then after that, he accepted. He understood 7 days are remaining now for me. He called his son, my dear son, he was Janmajaya, was fit to rule. You rule the world now. Done. Now what I should do? He went to the banks of, he's in Delhi, so banks of Yamuna. He sat down there. And because he was such a great saintly king, actually just as duty, he is a king. He's actually as good as a saint outside. You know, this all the great saints from the universe came. When a great person is leaving his body, go to do that, people go to assemble. They were all of, and not only that, they want to see how he's going to leave the body. Not only that, they say, we will be there with you, don't worry, we're going to help you. So whenever you do not continue with the path of dharma, even though in difficulty, it is highly appreciated. Even the Devatas threw flowers. Similarly, the Bali Maharaj, when he decided to give 3 steps, even though Shukracharya was against it, and when everything was taken away from him, Bali Maharaj was still peaceful and calm. So in life, difficulties do come. But if you behave like this, you become worshipable even for the Devata. They'll also throw flowers at you. But what happens to us? We behave like Kamsa, isn't it true? We shout, we howl. Little our interest is taken away, we become like furious. I remember I go to colleges. One college, what happened when somebody did not get promotion? Oh my God, it was shouting. Oh, so how will respect? You know, how will respect of such a person? Just small material thing is so distant. Okay, now a new hero is coming. Hero of heroes, Shukamuni at that time.
At that moment, there appeared the powerful son of Vyasadeva, who traveled over the earth disinterested and satisfied with himself. He did not manifest any symptoms of belonging to any social order or status of life. He was surrendered with women and children, and he dressed as if others had neglected him.
He is son of Vyasa. So he was born when he was 14-year-old. He refused to come out. It's a big history. Some other day I'll tell you. He's Shuka. If you want to find out the Shuka history, he's actually parrot of Radharani, belongs to the spiritual world. And he has unfathomable knowledge. He's a great devotee of the Lord, not devotee. He's a great devotee of the Lord. Now, when he's going to speak, assembly will include, when he's going to speak, the assembly will also include people like, Vedavyasa. Assembly is going to include, I can just show you the picture. Here. When he's going to speak now, assembly include Narada. His father, Vedavyasa, is sitting, Narada is sitting. He's only at this time 16-year-old, 2-year-old in this world, that's all. And after he left the home, his father wanted to do Namakarana, Upanayana, he was not interested in all that. He's already Paramahamsa. He just walked out of the house, unconcerned. And his father shouted, he never came back. And then he was traveling around the world, totally unconcerned with the way world is. And he landed up here. Now, just imagine, just because this king behaved in a righteous way, how much the Lord is personally arranging for him. And Parikshit Maharaj acknowledges that. He says, this is special mercy of Krishna to bring such a great sage who nobody knows where he is, how he has to land up here at this moment, exactly at the moment I come to the banks of the river, and this sage lands up. This cannot have an accident. This is mercy of Krishna. Lord Krishna is so great. And Shukamuni comes up, and then there's a brief discussion with there. He will offer himself to Shukamuni, and he will become immediately the chief guest. Nobody's bothering his ego. He's only 16, or he's younger than everybody here. Nobody's bothered about that. They know just by looking at him, by the his face, they know he's a highly advanced devotee. And anyway, there is also known as son of Veda Vyasa. Shukamuni is a very great devotee. Everybody bows down to hear him. And he going to speak Bhagavata to Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj, some will ask him, what should I do? I am about to die. Tasmad Bharata Sarvatma Bhagavani Sharo Hari Shotavya Kirtitavyascha Smaratavya Ichitam. Continuously hear about the Lord, chant Lord's glories and think about him. As 7 days of hearing from Shukamuni, he was already a great devotee, Parikshit Maharaj. And that's why he got the name Parikshit. Hearing about the Lord, he goes into Samadhi and perfection of life. Snake bird comes to bite, but he is already in Samadhi. Where is the what to bite? He leaves his body, goes back to spiritual world, and Krishna takes care of him. Okay, chalo, let us finish this. Yes. This is son of Vyasa. Yeah.
The son of Vedvyasa was only 16 years old. His legs, hands, thighs, arms, shoulders, forehead, and the other parts of his body were all delicately formed. His eyes were beautifully wide, and his nose and ears were highly raised. He had a very attractive face, and his neck was well formed and beautiful like a couch shell. His collarbone was fleshy, his chest broad and thick, his navel deep, and his abdomen fully stripped. His arms were long, and curly hair were strewn over his beautiful face. He was naked, and the hue of his body reflected that of Lord Krishna. He was blackish and very beautiful due to his youth. Because of the glamour of his body and his attractive smiles, he was pleasing to women. Though he tried to cover his natural glories, the great sages present there were all expert in the art of physiognomy. And so they honored him by rising from their seat. Maharaj Parikshit, who is also known as Vishnu Narata, one who is always protected by Vishnu, bowed his head to receive the chief guest, Sukadeva Goswami. At that time, all the ignorant women and boys ceased following Srila Sukadeva. Receiving respect from all, Sukadeva Goswami took his exalted seat. Sukadeva Goswami was then surrounded by saintly sages and demigods, just as the moon is surrounded by stars, planets, and other heavenly bodies. His presence was gorgeous and
was respected by all.
And he was respected by all. The sage Sri Sukadeva Goswami sat perfectly pacified, intelligent, and ready to answer any question without hesitation. The great devotee, Maharaj Parikshit, approached him, offered his respect by bowing before him, and politely inquired with sweet words and folded hands. The fortunate King Parikshit said, O Brahmana, by your mercy only you have sanctified us, making us like unto places of pilgrimage, all by your presence here as my guest. By your mercy, we who are but unworthy royalty become eligible to serve the devotee. Simply by our remembering you, our houses become instantly sanctified. And what to speak of seeing you, touching you, washing your holy feet, and offering you a seat in our home? Just as the atheist cannot remain in the presence of the personality of Godhead, so also the invulnerable sins of a man are immediately vanquished in your presence, O saint, O great mystic. Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is very dear to the sons of King Pandu, has accepted me as one of those relatives just to please his great cousins and brothers.
So
Otherwise,
see, look at it. He is, what a statement he's making. He's saying that he doesn't deserve this mercy. I'm nobody. He said, Lord Krishna decided to help me not because I'm special. This is a special favor. Shukamuni coming to help me at the moment of death. But this is because my grandparents were great devotees, Pandavas. So he is trying to please, Krishna is trying to please the Pandavas because I am their grandson. So Prabhupada comments there in the purport, sometimes devotees are very hesitant. Just like I remember when I joined ISKCON, there was definitely some obligation at home. But actually, if I look back, Krishna took care of it. Just like Parikshit Maharaj, when he surrendered to Krishna, Pandavas surrendered to Krishna. So Krishna took care even of their relative Parikshit Maharaj. Okay.
Otherwise, without being inspired by Lord Krishna, how is it that you have voluntarily appeared here, though you are moving incognito through the common man and are not visible to us who are on the verge of death? You are the spiritual master of great saints and devotees. I am therefore begging you to show the way of perfection for all persons and especially for one who is about to die. Please let me know what a man should hear, chant, remember, and worship, and also what he should not do. Please explain all this to me. O powerful Brahmana, it is said that you hardly stay in the houses of men long enough to milk a cow. Sri Sutta Goswami said, the king thus spoke and questioned the sage, using.
Okay.
Prabhuji, it is hidden.
Just wait. So Shuka Muni, his life was like this. He walked out of the house moment he was born. 14 years he stayed in the womb of the mother. Krishna has to personally come and assure him. Then only he took his birth. He was telling his father there's so much Maya. And father had taught him everything. Vedavyasa is the storehouse of knowledge, and he learnt everything from his father. He was born and he was straight away walked away out of the house. And then for all his eating was only this business. In the morning time, when people milk the cow, at that time he will approach a house, generally a house in the Vedic time. I will have at least half a dozen or 1 dozen cows, everybody. Even today, in the villages, when you have cow, it will become two tomorrow. Every year it increases by number. So it will have everybody will have half a dozen or 1 dozen cows, any house. You just go to the house morning time. That's the time people milk the cows. Just stand there. And people will give him few palmful of milk. And we just drink that. That's it. His food is over. No more food this rest of the day. That's all. That's all. Finished. No chapati, no samosa, no sabji, no palya, nothing. Over. Actually, food is milk is a complete food for the body. Even today, many people live by milk and fruits. Many people do that. So it's not extraordinary, but living such an austere life because he was not spending his time on anything else. He just absorbed in Krishna and Samadhi and finishing his worldly duties like this. Okay. Where are you now?
Sri
Okay.
48 takes. Sri Sutta Goswami said, the king thus spoke and questioned the sage, using sweet language. Then the great and powerful personality, the son of Vyasadeva, who knew the principles of religion, began his reply.
And next is a beautiful chapter. Those who want to read it yourself, I'll see when I can take it up. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Variyameshate Prashnaha Kritam Loka Hitam Napaha Atmit Sambataha Pumsa Shrotavyadishya Paraha Shrotavyadini Rajendra Ninam Santim Sahasrasaha Apashyatam Atmatattvam Griheshadriya Medina Nirdaya Hriyate Naktim Vayena Chavavaya Divacharaya Rajan Kutumba Varane Nava Tasmad Bharat Sarvatma Bhagavan Ishwaro Hari Shotavya Kirtadavyasya Smartavya Chitamavayam. Beautiful shlokas will start the next chapter. And that is Shukamani will start speaking. That I will the second canto. And this is how the first canto, the speaker of Bhagavatam doesn't enter in the first canto. He comes in the second canto. Interesting. Okay, nice to hear. Pleasant. So everybody got a taste of Bhagavatam. It's very sweet. Bhagavatam is very, very sweet scripture. So when you want, sit and read Bhagavatam. Read the shlokas, word meaning. Bhagavatam is a bhasha nam, Brahma Sutra nam. Is a bhasha on the Vedanta by Vedavyasa himself. Therefore, it begins with the first aphorism of the Vedanta. Janmadhyasya taratascha bhagna swarat tene brahma hridadi kavaya mohiyanti surya. Beautiful. Bhagavatam is so beautiful. So pleasing to hear. Okay, so you all getting, see how many jewels we have. We hardly take advantage. Look at the role model we got now. Such a tough situation. How he behaved respectfully. How the dealings are so sweet, gentle. And he's taking benefit, Shukamuni, and he achieves the supreme goal of life. And the people just sitting together. And nobody is crying, nobody is shouting. They're also very good, very good. Devatas are saying, throwing flowers. So isn't our life should be so auspicious? Devatas throw flowers and everybody says, very good, very good. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Chalo, so we close now today,
Hare
10:36.
Krishna, Prabhuji.
I hope all you enjoyed. Do you like the style? 4 parts. Number 1, we will
Yes,
hear
Prabhuji.
for everything a short 5-minute Prabhupada voice. We're going to let the Acharya speak first. Then after that, we will study the shloka we decided for the day. Today, I just took one shloka because there was a big story at the end. And first chapter, the only one, 108 shloka, which I have taken the list. And then after that is over, we will have some little question answer. Then read one Bhagavatam story. Okay? So by that time, we will not only be studying Gita, you would have got tasted different parts. Just like lollipop from anywhere, you got taste little idea about Bhagavatam. But study of Bhagavatam has to be done thoroughly. You should sit with a book, read shloka, word meaning, translation, and all the tatparya. Read carefully, think about it, go to the next shloka. Bhagavatam takes many years to read. It's 18,000 verses. Bhagavad Gita, how many? 700. So these two books are very beautiful books which we study in ISKCON. Okay. Good. Everybody enjoyed hearing this pastime? Nice.
Yes,
Yes,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji. Very much.
Okay.
Yes,
So,
Prabhuji.
so
Radhe Radhe. Thank you.
purifying. See, there in the whole thing, even though so many things have happened, so much tough things happen, there is no envy. There's a Bhagavatam is another scripture. No envy, no politics, nothing. Just supreme, sweet consciousness, dependence on the Lord. So much peace we can see in this whole discussion. So much peace in their mind, and we're feeling pleasure in hearing that. And Prabhupada, if you get time, read this whole Bhagavatam with purport. Very nicely, Prabhupada expands on the meaning with his purport, and it becomes more beautiful. Hare Krishna. This is whole Bhagavatam behind me. Can you see that? This is Bhagavatam. Amazing. And then there is one more sweet book, Chaitanya Charitamrita. Some of you are joining us. Afternoon, 3 o'clock, I am reading Gaura Leela. Today was a cleaning of Gundicha temple. Another sweet book. So you're welcome to join that also if you get time, 3 o'clock. So we will have this orientation few more days. I'm taking your time, I know. But that is because then I'll be meeting you once only a week on Saturdays. Okay, so, and I think the structure is okay. I hope it is fine. Saves me a lot of time. Otherwise, presentation making takes a lot of time. So this is best. Pancha kalpatarubhasya kripa sindhuve evacha patitana pavanebhyo